everyone. Welcome to the debate. I'm your host, Maqbool, with you at PTV World. In today's show, we're going to be taking a look at the very important results of the Indian elections, with, of course, the BJP-led alliance winning the majority in the parliament. The BJP itself took about 240 seats, and of course, this is very different from the numbers that the exit polls may have been suggesting earlier, or even what the Modi government or the party in itself was aiming for in its very famous slogan, 400 Par. But we're, of course, going to be taking a look at what this means now that these election results are in, especially in terms of how the opposition alliance, including the Congress party, fared in these elections, and the kind of troubles that are more likely to be faced by the third term of the BJP and Prime Minister Modi in office, and what exactly is going to be the way that this alliance is actually going to work, and what are going to be the contours, especially in terms of how the House will be decided, how the government would be formed, and what exactly will be the major consequences on important decisions, policy matters, and the rest that now, of course, the BJP would have to undertake with regards to the other parties as part of their alliance, and not just what perhaps it was used to in the past decade or so. So we're going to be taking a look at the election results, the election themselves, and then, of course, also in terms of what lies ahead and how different political parties are now going to move forward in this new setup in India. So that is going to be our focus in the show today. For this and more, as always, in the studios, I've been joined by senior analysts Farrukh, Pitafi, and Faisal. We've also been joined online by our guest, Mr. Aditya, Bharat, who's Advocate Supreme Court of India. Thank you very much, Aditya, for joining us and being a part of our discussion today. And of course, with regards to the Indian elections, this is a very important matter that we need to discuss with you. And first of all, congratulations on this successful completion of these elections. And of course, in terms of what we see right now, the numbers that are there and the results that have been announced, I want your perspective as to what you think about not just in the ways that the election was conducted, but also in the ways that different political parties actually fared in these elections, particularly, of course, the BJP and the Congress, and also what you think this victory means for the BJP, even though, of course, we know it is a third term for Prime Minister Modi. But what do you think this particular election result means for the BJP, given, of course, that it's not the kind of majority perhaps that they were looking for?
Hi, Sana. Thank you for having me. Firstly, this is a historic verdict. There is no other way to put it. Uh, it is the first time after Prime Minister Nehru that a Prime Minister has been elected the third time consecutively, one after the other. So this is historic in that sense. Secondly, obviously the BJP would not be very pleased. They were, although their slogan was 400 par, for they were never really realistically expected 400. They would have been happy repeating their performance like last time. Having said that, in Hindi and Urdu, there is a slogan, "Jo jeeta wo Sikandar." So ultimately, they have the numbers. It's their pre-poll alliance which has got more than 272. They themselves have fallen little short. That is fine, but they are forming government. They are happy. Congress and the India Alliance, after everyone coming up together, all of them combined were 6 seats short than BJP, which is 240. They themselves are 234. All the opposition parties in the entire country, and BJP's alliance naturally is crossed it. So the India Alliance, although very happy and exuberant, should have a lot of questions to answer, and should definitely be thinking that if everyone gets together, yet they are just able to cause a slight dent or a crease on BJP, while they themselves are nowhere near forming the government. So, putting this into perspective, the last point which I want to make here is ultimately it is democracy which has won. There were a lot of people across the world, everywhere, in India, abroad, everywhere, saying that elections are manipulated in India. There is rigging done. EVMs voting is not happening properly. Now that will finally put a full. This result will finally put a full stop on everyone on this point at least.
Absolutely. And Aditya, that's an interesting take on the numbers. But another perception, of course, is also with regards to how the Congress party has, in fact, fared in these elections. And it's more than a double, or perhaps almost double, as to what it secured in 2019. What does that say about the party in itself, and, of course, the way that the BJP has performed in these elections?
See, I want to be very clear about this in no uncertain terms. It is outright shameful. It is the oldest political party of India. They brought us freedom. They brought India and Pakistan both freedom actually. So both nations owe a great debt of gratitude to Congress party, right? Having said that, to not even reach 100 and to consider that as a victory is the most foolish thing I have seen. Their vote percentage stands about, it has improved by 2 or 3% after 10 years of anti-incumbency. So I don't know what to say. They are celebrating, let them celebrate. There are many people in mental asylums also who celebrate their existence. If they are celebrating, they have failed the country. India needed a strong opposition party, a single strong opposition party, not this milli-julie opposition party cabal which has been created. So they have a lot to answer.
And I'll come to that alliance, Aditya, but I just wanted to ask that it's interesting that you're taking a look at a party who's doubled the seats that it has secured as something that is shameful, and another party who secured less seats than before, or not even a majority that it promised to, or that it hoped for, being in office for 2 terms as a triumph.
The exam gets 10%, 20%. Suddenly, that from 10% he goes to 20%. Passing marks is still 35%, and he celebrates it. That see, I have scored double. It is something like that here.
All right, interesting wordplay. But let us also come back to what this means, especially in terms of the alliance. And you talked about the India alliance, and I'll come to that later. But what about NDA, of course, also, and how the BJP will then have to work along with the other political parties as well as part of its alliance, especially in the parliament, and then, of course, with regards to important government decisions. And firstly, of course, the formation of the government itself.
See, formation of government is not an issue. All the alliance partners together have given their letters of support to Honorable Prime Minister. Government is happening. Definitely, the last time we met, this was the topic of discussion, that how would the ministerial allocations happen in case of a coalition government. In hindsight, I prove wrong. Modi ji has to come with coalition partners. Definitely, being a prime minister and CM, he's never had coalition partners. So he has to go against his basic nature, which is of taking unilateral decisions himself. So interesting times, but very stable government. BJP with 240 alliance partners, the 2 major alliance partners, TDP and JDU combined, come to 28 seats. In case they ever happen to desert BJP, BJP still with others and the existing NDA partners would be able to retain their government. Having said that, 1 week is a long time in politics. 5 years is too much to predict. But I expect a stable government for at least 2-3 years. After that, let's see. Mostly there should be a stable government. But nonetheless, no threat in the immediate 2-3 years period.
All right. And Faisal, I want your perspective on this as well, especially in terms of what Aditya also pointed towards, the fact that now the BJP or Prime Minister Modi will not be able to take a lot of the actions unilaterally, and of course something that it has been used to before. And as I want to understand then what that means in terms of the impact that it will have on the politics of India, and of course the way that different policy decisions or matters related to India are going to be finalized. And so especially now, given the fact that this is the 3rd term, and of course a historic one, as Aditya pointed out, what does that mean particularly for the people of India and the way that we now see the future?
Yes, and obviously when we talk about right now the equation of course is in the favor of BJP, because they are the leading party in terms of numbers. I mean 241 odd numbers, that is a very good number which they have secured. But of course, when a party is talking about more than 400 they wanted to achieve and they couldn't. So to me, I think it was a sort of the hurdle was from the opposite side, and the opposite side was Congress itself. As my very dear friend Aditya was earlier highlighting about both of the parties, that one has just secured double the number but still not crossing the 100. To me, I think it was more of a one boxer getting in the ring with the aim to knock out in the first round, but the other boxer was coming into ring knowing that he is going to lose, but trying to make it to till the last round and then lose the match. This is what has happened in India today. Congress, its aim was obviously not to allow BJP sort of a number that is easier for them to amend the laws or ultimate power, gain the ultimate power, and Mr. Modi turning himself into a dictator in today's India on the basis of the number of seats he gets. And I think to me Congress itself has attained and gained the position they were desiring, and now we are seeing that the the government, the coming up government. I still remember last month while we were having Aditya in our show, we did discuss about key ministries. I did highlight two of the ministries that matter the most. Of course, I'm talking about the Home Ministry and then of course the Defence Ministry. Both of them, they are crucial, they are very important when it comes to Indian setup, Indian government. To me, I think both of them, they are going to go towards their allies, and in that context, of course, decision making on the behest of only BJP and led by Modi, it would not be possible for Prime Minister Modi to ultimately decide whatever he wants to do. Of course, he has to carry along with the allied parties as well, and he has to listen to them as well, especially the Home Ministry. I am seeing that the Home Ministry is going to go towards one of his allies, whoever he is. They will be, of course, not letting their ally Modi, Prime Minister Modi, to do whatever he wills to do or wants to do in India. So it would be a sort of a government that can be considered as not a government having ultimate power, number one, and number two, the previous two tenures of Prime Minister Modi, they were sort of empowered kind of governments of Prime Minister Modi. This is the time, this is obviously his third term. This time around, he would be getting the weaker government. So this would be the ultimate test of his politics, how he goes along with it, how he carries on with the with the support of his allies, and how he shapes up his decisions in coming future. That would matter, and I think it's a real test of his politics and capabilities. Previously, yes, he had the power and he enjoyed it, and he has been obviously going along with his agenda. But this time around, how he maneuvers his government, how he achieves his goals, that would be crucial to see. And on the other side, I see, though Indian National Congress could not gain the number to, of course, form the government and whatever, but they have gained support on ground, and they have shown it everywhere, and they have sort of placed themselves on a platform from where they can take off for the next election. And I think their sort of campaign for the next election would start from the very day when Prime Minister Modi, of course, goes for his third term in the Premier Office of India. To me, I think that's when they will be starting their campaign, because we will see Rahul Gandhi being, of course, the opposition leader, and he would be pivotal when it comes to, of course, his criticism of the government, and that's what happens in the democracies and the democratic countries. Of course, the opposition leaders, they are always there, and to me, I think he will be playing an excellent role in coming days, and that would, sort of fetch him more and more momentum, political momentum in India. And the kind of wave we saw in these elections, I mean, it was, it was seen that, of course, more and more people, especially, the social media and everything, they were getting involved, and the kind of, enthusiasm we saw, it was remarkable and, commendable to see that. And the whole process itself of the elections, I mean, earlier in different programs, I've been saying this as well, and I want to say it in my own show as well, that I think we should congratulate India for whatever they've done, because more than 600 million voters. I mean, this is remarkable, and to me, I think it's commendable. The achievement itself must be praised.
Right, absolutely. And Farrukh, I want your perspective also on this. Of course, yesterday the final results weren't in, and we were still talking about the kind of possibilities that were there. But now, of course, we have the Prime Minister Modi as we look ahead. And so I want your perspective, particularly in terms of what now, and also in terms of the way that, as Faisal was talking about, the role of the opposition and the way that Rahul Gandhi or even the rest of the alliance are going to then be playing that very important role, given the current dynamics or given the way that these elections took place.
Right, Sana, thank you very much. First of all, regarding the election process, I think that once again, I congratulated India yesterday and day before yesterday as well. 642 million people voted, Sana. And as I kept on pointing out, that all this talk of EVMs being manipulated is all rubbish. That was also proven right, especially because the Indian Supreme Court also played a very important role in ensuring that the ILUs, or for that matter, image loading units that are essential for tracking the record of EVMs, they are kept secure for 60 days, right? And that might have actually enhanced the credibility of the whole process. That said, as Aditya was pointing out, today coalition partners of NDA, that is BJP's partners, actually met with the Prime Minister Modi, and there they actually supported him, nominated him in a letter as their prime ministerial candidate. Now, there were two very important people on that table apart from the Prime Minister. One is Chandrababu Naidu, who got 16 seats from Andhra Pradesh and also swept Andhra Pradesh's state elections. And the other one was Nitish Kumar. Nitish Kumar of Bihar got 12 seats, and he continuously, everybody was saying that he is finished. And many people actually kept on buying that. And in the end, it was proven that Nitish Kumar is the expert of the game, because he was the architect of India Alliance and then he quit. And in the past, one thing is for sure. One, he actually carried out a statewide caste census, and that seems to have changed the whole dynamic and given India Alliance, India Coalition, some firepower to fight, and they managed to do well. I also agree with what Aditya was saying. The word shameful is right, but it does not apply to 2024. It applies to 2014, because that was the time when all the opposition parties fell from grace, and they fell so much that it is taking them this much time to come up or resume their normal politics. Do you know, for 10 years, Indian federal parliament did not have an opposition leader. True. Why not? Because nobody crossed the threshold that is needed to actually have an opposition leader. Nitish Babu and Chandrababu Naidu both are temperamental players, and they are old players of coalition politics. And there lies the actual fault lines of the whole thing. On one side, of course, they have been both demanding, and by the way, Chandrababu Naidu actually quit NDA ages ago, and he quit it because he was demanding special status for Andhra Pradesh, right? And Nitish Kumar also demanded special status for Bihar as a state. So those demands must be there. We have also heard via Indian media that Chandrababu Naidu has demanded that what Faisal was saying, Home Ministry should not be given to Amit Shah. But here's the problem. If you think that at this moment BJP is weak, just wait till it comes back to power. At this moment they are in power, but they are in a capacity of caretakers. Once they come back, what happens? If people think that BJP was authoritarian when it was in majority, it is dangerous when it is not. What happens right now? Right now they rely on their allies to form the government, but after that they go back to when they get all the powers, they go back to their own fashion or methods. And what is that, Sana? BJP usually enters a state building coalitions, and after that, one by one, once they have had vote transfer enough, they actually poach their people and include them in their own party. So remember that old cartoon where two pilgrims are stranded in a boat. One is looking at the other as a friend, and the other one is looking at him as meat, right? Because it has to feed. With that kind of a situation, I think that both Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar, who had great opportunity to gain a lot from the other side, because remember, even premiership for Nitish Kumar was on the table. Chandrababu Naidu had the offer of Mantri, the Deputy Prime Minister. With that kind of a situation, if they are not going there, of course it is going to be business as usual once again. And BJP, I mean, throughout this election, my respect for Indian people and Indian poll workers has actually crossed the skies. But when it comes to respect for Indian politicians, not so much.
Right. Aditya, when we take a look, especially given the current dynamics and the way forward, there's also, of course, a need to look back at the 2 terms that the BJP had in office and the kind of issues perhaps that also took center stage. And while we know, of course, that the Hindutva ideology is also part of the kind of narrative and rhetoric that the BJP put forward, there were a lot of issues, particularly now with this elections and in terms of what the Modi's guarantee also spoke about, which were beyond this ideology and also looked at issues such as employment, poverty alleviation, and of course the kind of food deprivation that existed. And so I wanted to understand, in your perspective, what do you think will be those key agendas or challenges that this government will have to take into account, and whether or not the BJP will be able to put forward a similar stance that it has taken before, or bank on the way that it has previously on its ideology?
Unmute.
You'll have to unmute yourself.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. I'm saying populism is one thing, practicality is another. Now that there is a coalition government in place, uh, and especially after the drubbing in Uttar Pradesh and having lost Ayodhya itself, from where the whole Ram Mandir agitation began, focus will solely be on economic priorities. Making India the 3rd largest economy within a short time would be a major goal. Trying to have further reforms in the economic and land space would be definitely on the top of the agenda. Employment generation is very important. We are having a loop-sided development where at the grassroots level, job creation is an issue. So those are the real issues, and those issues will be center stage. Having said that, we also have an issue of financial autonomy of states. States can expect more financial autonomy. With that being the case, there would be more decentralized planning. So all in all, I think it's very good time for the country. There will be greater democratic participation, greater divergent views will be brought on the table. And this mix and match somehow may lead to something good. Because let me remind you, since 1989, India did not have a single party rule right up till 2014. So, and India's great progress happened between 1989 to 2014 under multiple coalition governments. So it's not always bad to have a coalition government. I disagree. I don't think Home Ministry would be given to any ally. I still maintain that they have staked claim on the speaker's post. So maybe the Lok Sabha speaker's post may go. They may have larger claims on the vice president's post when the time comes after 3 years. They want the power ministry, they want highways, they want railway. So those are Chandrababu Naidu wants Minister of State, that is Junior Minister in the Finance Ministry. Now you are, I am here. In 2-3 days, it will be clear who has what portfolio. But my personal opinion is I don't think the top 4 ministries are going. If anything, maybe foreign affairs or defense may go. Let's see. Time will show.
All right. And Aditya, given, of course, the way that we have seen the previous terms as well deal with these issues, of course, and I understand that you're emphasizing on economic relations and trade and investment. I want to know if you can also specify in terms of the way that this government will be able to pursue this key challenge, particularly when it comes to engagement with other countries as well, especially in terms of economic ties, and what sort of engagement policy will be there to get an increase in trade and investment in India?
See, first and foremost, there is a World Bank Ease of Doing Business Index. So there are certain policy restrictions which exist. Those policy restrictions have to be addressed. Secondly, India is undoubtedly a very large economy, huge market. So India does not need to really attract anyone to come here. People are incentivized to come here. Uh, that being the case, there would be more decentralized diplomacy also in the economic sphere. This started when Prime Minister Modi was Chief Minister. He, as Chief Minister, had gotten good loans from Japan, good investment from Japan, and subsequently, multiple state governments, chief ministers have been going independently to Davos on the World Economic Forum, including opposition leaders. So we can have that as a strategy towards attracting state-specific investment from international countries, I mean global powers. And definitely, they must definitely address the parameters laid down in the ease of doing business index. Once they satisfy that and India rises further in ease of doing business, investment would naturally flow. Keeping overall thing in mind, definitely we are ultimately heading towards being the third largest economy. It's a huge market. So no one will like to lose out on this market. I think overall they don't need to do much to attract. They have to do much in implementation. Attraction, people are already attracted.
Yeah, Aditya, you yourself are a lawyer, and of course you do peak on international law as well. Very recently, of course, India has been facing challenges in terms of the kind of actions which were being taken against the Khalistan movement, and we know that in New York one of the cases of course got picked up, and that is being highlighted. And then the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, he had a statement issued in front of his parliament against, of course, the Indian involvement of one of the murders of the Khalistan movement activists in Canada. In this kind of context, of course, we know that the Western countries, they have their reservations on the way things were moving on the external affairs by Modi's government. What kind of challenges and the existing challenges, of course, India is facing, and how India would overcome under the government of same Modi, who's been ruling over India since 2014, and all of these things were happening around in his tenures.
And by the way, Aditya, can you do us a favor? Earlier, in the start when you were speaking, your volume was high. It seems that whatever mic is close to you might have slipped away.
Yeah.
Could you actually move it closer so that we can hear you clearly? And carry on, sir. Carry on talking as well.
I'm on my tab, so 1 minute. I'll just give me a second.
Okay, but carry on. You can continue talking as well.
Yeah. Yeah, is this better?
Yeah,
Yeah, it is better. Kind of better, yeah.
All. Okay. So, regarding this Khalistan issue, it's not really an issue. I can tell you one thing, and which is an open secret every government does. Every government and its agencies, be it ours, be it yours, be it US, be it China, definitely deals with dissidents in a certain manner, right? And no one ever admits to having done anything officially. This being the case, Khalistan is some. See, I'm not in government, so I don't know what decisions have been taken, not taken. But irrespectively, there would never, no government, be it US, CIA's documents are classified, documents are released 50, 70 years later. That's when someone finds out what America did or didn't do. So there will never be any ownership aspect here, right? So once nothing is official, there is nothing to answer to. So is the case with the so-called non-state actors from Pakistan. That being the case, now, what was your second question? Sorry, what was your second question?
Yeah, of course, it was related to, as we saw, that all of these activities they were taking place during Modi's government, the 10-year government he's been having. Of course, all of these actions were being taken by him, and now he being in the on the premier sort of seat once more. Of course, already he's been facing questions from the Western countries, and now again he would be facing the questions. So in that context, how would he deal with the Western countries and the pressure which is coming from? Because this is not normal. I mean, this time around, it's not that one country or spooky agency of one country has done something and they got away with it, because this time around one Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, who happens to be one of the most important political figure of the world right now, he actually highlights in front of his own parliament. This is a huge development in that context. How would the current government, the upcoming government under Modi once more, would be dealing with it?
And by the way, let me qualify, hang on, Aditya, let me qualify this question in context of what you said earlier. Of course, states all over the world do whatever they can to make their people secure or whatever happens. And usually that includes some kind of fishy, activities as well. But it is not the activities themselves might not be that big a problem. Getting caught might be. Yeah. And that is what has happened this time. There are people who have been arrested. So is it not going to have an impact on the situation? Because your government also seems to be actually cooperating with the investigations.
See, that's the thing. At least there is cooperation. There is no, India is not simply saying that this is a non-state actor, or India is not totally disowning anything, right? They are participating in a process. Let's see that's a judicial process. Let's see what outcome happens to that. Broadly, I will, on the point of pressure, let me make it bluntly clear that there is no pressure for one simple reason. Trudeau made that an issue. After that, you see the backlash he has faced in Canada. India-Canada diplomatic relations at all-time low. There is an entire section within Canada which has opposed him. Whether he gets re-elected or no is also doubtful. Uh,
So you're powerful.
this is a sign of brute force. The brute force element here is simply one, which is the sheer size of the country, which doesn't change whoever is the prime minister. The sheer size of the economy and the sheer size of the economic potential foreign and Western nations and all nations see. So that being the case, that element of brute force gives a cushioning effect to any so-called pressures faced on such front. Is my analysis. This is my analysis. I may be wrong,
Right.
but this is what I believe.
Brilliant.
Right, absolutely. Aditya, I also want to speak about something that we earlier spoke about in the show with some very respectable guests from India as well. We talked about how, of course, one of the most important things whenever there is a government in place is, of course, the protection of its people, including, of course, minorities. And this has been an issue that we've seen in the past 2 terms that the BJP has been in office. And so with regards to the way that the people of India need to feel safe, especially the minorities, do you think that is something that the BJP-led government will be able to ensure this time around, or whether or not this is something that is a high priority for Prime Minister Modi to be able to put forward all of his efforts to actually ensure that the citizens of India are protected by the state?
Or maybe the allies of BJP government, they will ensure that BJP isn't the same BJP that has been for 10 years?
See, this is all speculation, is what I will say. You will disagree. So let me not get into this. India is stable.
Is not speculation, at least.
Very well. I already told you. I have second guessed what you will say. So let's not get into that.
Okay.
I am answering you. I am not running away from it. I am simply
I was
saying
just qualifying. Yes.
very well. I am simply saying all citizens of the nation are equal. Everyone has equal protection of the law. The constitution is not changing. The laws are not changing on this. So if there are any untoward incidences, they have to be dealt with strictly in those terms, and that will be dealt with. They have been dealing it with that alacrity, and they hopefully will continue dealing with it. It is a non-issue at this juncture. So I don't answering your question. No specific special attempts have to be made. because attempts are made when there is an issue. When there is a non-issue, there is nothing to be done.
You think
When
the plight
such
of the
instances
minorities
happen,
of
they will be
India
done.
is a non-issue?
No, I'm saying when there is any attack on any citizen of the country, be it Hindu or Muslim, and any violation of the law, that will be dealt with strictly. And there is the non-issue element is some fear mongering amongst minorities, which doesn't exist, is what I'm saying.
No, but
There is
you're
peace
right.
and stability, and if
Hang
there
on,
is a you call
Aditya.
me, I will answer you that.
Aditya, hang on. I understand that your constitution says that all citizens are equal, and whatever you're saying on books, that is correct. But the question is, if somebody is attacked particularly for being who he or she is, for example, their identity, that matters, right? We have seen that if a Muslim somehow criticizes Modi government or other people, he is often dubbed as Pakistani, go to Pakistan. If a Sikh does that, he is, slapped with the title of Khalistani. Similarly, when a Dalit actually criticizes the government or particularly far right, they are called urban Naxalites. So you understand, I mean, there are many rivers in India. Denial is not one of them. Do you think that this is a serious issue and it should actually, there should be some kind of assurances by the government that things are going to get better?
Any violation of the law is a serious issue, dealt with seriously. Regarding assurances, let me just give you an anecdote. When Prime Minister Modi became Chief Minister of Gujarat the first time, the second time after the Gujarat riots, uh, his opening speech in the Sardar Vallabhbhai Stadium was Abhayam, 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 meaning be fearless, be fearless, be fearless. And he also said, I have received the votes of whatever 35% people or 40% people, but I'm the chief minister of 100% people. Similarly, when he takes oath the third time, he's the chief prime minister of all the 140 crore Indians and not just the 40% people or 39% people who voted for him. That remains unchanged, and that is his oath and solemn oath with the Constitution of India. And if anyone, be it Prime Minister Modi now or some future Prime Minister later, anyone who violates that, our democracy's resilience has shown that we are capable to deal with such things very strictly. No one is above the law. No one is above the people of this country. No one is
Right.
above the Constitution.
Absolutely, and Aditya, of course, if words were the only thing that mattered, we would have been living in a different world. But of course, what we've seen in action seems to point towards a different direction. And my understanding is based on what we've seen previously. And I want your perspective in terms of how confidently you will be able to say that the minorities in India feel safe, that they have nothing to fear about.
Minorities have participated in large numbers in these elections. They have voted overwhelmingly in favor of the people they want to, right?
Sure.
That
Sure,
being the
but whoever
case, they
actually
have
came into
robust.
power, the idea is to guarantee
If there is,
safety.
if there,
Is there a guarantee of safety?
the 100% there is a guarantee of safety. And if there is any violation, we have a judiciary, robust judiciary to deal with such violations, which I don't think would happen. If they do, there is a robust judiciary. Beyond this, naturally, we have the whole night in front of us. You will ask me, I'll answer the same thing. Rest is what time will show.
For your own
Time will show what will happen in this third term. Let's
Right,
see.
Aditya. Okay, let me ask a different question, especially in terms of the political leaders of India and that, of course, particularly of the BJP that we've seen previously, make a lot of comments and hate speeches, which also have spurred violence within India, and there have been a lot of statements that have been made against a particular community, even particularly Muslims, and so that, of course, has also really harmed the people in the streets of India who of course, have been attacked by different people. And while we can talk about the way accountability works, I want your perspective on what exactly needs to be the consequence of such statements that people of political importance or political power get to say and get away with also, and the impact that it has on the people of India and the society in itself that suffer the consequences.
See, I have a proposal. Let's see what happens. I'm not in government. I'm not a member of parliament. I'm irrelevant to that
No,
extent.
that
But I'll be
sure.
right.
Okay, as
will be
Advocate Supreme Court, as Advocate Supreme Court of India, I want you to give us a perspective as to what should happen to a political leader, or what should be the course of action for a political leader who indulges in hate speech.
I will be shortly writing an article on this in a prominent Indian newspaper, it's my proposal that hate speech and certain other elements of the Model Code of Conduct be made a specific category of offense. And the moment there is, by and large, prima facie evidence of course supposed subject to a trial, that this kind of offense has been committed, immediate disqualification as as a potential candidate, if you are a candidate, and if you are a member of parliament, then immediate suspension is what I propose should be a law applicable to everyone, and that would obviously be applicable to everyone. This is what I propose.
Absolutely. Right, Aditya, we look forward to reading that article, and perhaps we'll call you once again after that. But thank you so much for being part of the discussion today and joining us in the debate. Thank you, Farrukh, and thank you, Faisal, for being part of the discussion as well. That's all that we have from the debate. We'll now see you tomorrow.